Hi, Kathryn here with Handmade by Circle Art Designs. Today on my work table, I am going to be working on a bracelet and earring set that I'm calling Pumpkins and Pearls. These will be made with these lovely little pumpkin charms and some freshwater pearls in baby pink. Or maybe it's a powder pink. So let's turn our eyes to the mat and get started. And as we turn our eyes to my work table, this will probably be the last time we see this thankful and blessed mat. I still love it. I'm going to put it away, but I'll use it for next year. I am filming this in October, but you will see it in November. And November's filming will be with another of our beautiful, blessed, and thankful mats. So today, as I'm thinking about it, I feel very blessed, for we have had rain. Our summer was really dry. But what a blessing the last week has been with the rain that has come down. And finally, true cooler weather has come into my area. What a blessing it is. You never realize how you have missed the cool weather until it finally comes back home. So we're putting the mat on the table, but I'm telling you, I'm going to end up taking it right back off because we're going to start with a different step from the mat at this point. So let's go ahead and let's set up for the next step. So to begin with, I'm going to pull out these beautiful little 3D pumpkins. I got these off of Amazon. I believe the store name was Benoshop, Benoshop, and they come in a set of 20. They are just beautiful. They come in pinks and grays and creams and your orange and and a blue. Next up is alcohol ink and a gold. I love this gold alcohol ink. It is one of my favorites. And I got this from Hobby Lobby, I believe, in a set with other colors. Right, then I'm going to go ahead and pull out a very thin tip brush and then a thicker tip brush for this and my bottle of alcohol spray. I have put a piece of scrap paper down on a tile because if anything bleeds through, I don't want it to bleed through on my mat. And I give this a shake. There's a little ball in this alcohol ink. Make sure you shake it really well. I'm taking another smaller tile. I'm going to go ahead and put that off to the side and put just a drop of this alcohol ink on there. Now these pumpkins are beautiful just the way they are, but I wanted a more golden antique look to them. And so we're going to give them just a little play with that beautiful gold alcohol ink. Now we're going to start off with this very fine tip brush. And I am putting the alcohol in between each of the crevices of the pumpkin because I want them to kind of recede into the background. Make sure you do the top and the bottom. Alcohol ink dries really quickly, but it doesn't set until it has been on there for, anywhere from 4 to 24 hours. Once I get that on, I'm going through, I put it in a little, on a little piece of toothpick because I wanted to not get it all over my fingers. And I'm taking the little brush and now I'm doing just a little bit of the paint onto the sides, the curvature of the pumpkin. Now, don't worry about it if it seems like you've got too much because, like I said, it doesn't set completely till it has had several hours to dry. And I will be able to antique this with the alcohol, with alcohol itself, with the spray. I am going to do, I believe, I haven't decided quite yet, either 4 or 6 of these pumpkins. It depends on how many pearls I want to add on. Now you notice I picked up my little spray bottle with alcohol in it. I went ahead and put it on my little dot because it was beginning to dry out. And I'm doing the same process to the pink. Now I will be doing the pattern of gray, pink, gray, pink, gray, pink whenever I put this on the bracelet. But as I said, up to this point, I have just been adding the gold, and now I'm going to begin to antique it. When we antique it, we take and load our brush with the alcohol, and then we very gently, I'm sorry, my hand is falling off the camera slot. But what I'm doing is I'm beginning to wipe off some of the gold, and you'll see it come off in the alcohol itself when I reach back down on my palette to get a little more of the alcohol. Now, when I have brushed as much of this off as I want, I can go back in with the alcohol ink itself, just like that. I brushed too much off, and just add little dabs where I want it. But I usually saturate in the gold and then wipe off till I get as much of it as I want off of the pumpkin, because I want the underneath color to show, but I want the gold to show more. Isn't that pretty? That's about what I'm looking for on that gray. And the pink, you have to take a little bit more off because you want the pink to show through, and that gold really shows up on that pink. Oh, I wish my hands would get back in place. I think I'm in place, but I'm not. There you go. Now you can see it. So, yeah, here I'm just brushing off with the alcohol and making sure that I got it off where I wanted it off. But I got a little too much off on the curb, and so I'm going ahead and putting a little bit of that on. Now it's easy, but it's kind of time consuming. So make yourself something to drink, get a comfortable chair, pull out all your supplies, and just paint and antique these beautiful pumpkins. Now to clean the brush, I just spray it with the alcohol. I've cleaned off my tile that also uses alcohol to do that. As long as you don't let it completely dry, it should come off of your brushes with just alcohol. I know people use 90. I just use a 70% alcohol, and it works beautifully. And this is what I've gone with. I have 6 total. Isn't that pretty? I just love antiquing it in this gold because I just think it gives it such a richer color to it. It's nothing wrong with using them right out of the little charm box, but I love to antique them. All right, this is the chain I have in my stash. I'm sorry, I have lost the spool it was on, but any chain will do. This is a rose gold chain, but I don't have any rose gold jump rings, but that's okay because we've got pink in the pumpkins. And I am going to make a chain charm bracelet with this. Now then, I have measured it around my wrist, and then I'm going to go 15 links out from the wrist and make it about, this will end up being 7 1/4 plus the 15 extra links. I will go ahead and take those links off before I finish the bracelet so that I can put a larger jump ring between it. But I'm just cutting it now as one. If you want to do it in 2 stages, that's great. But I want to be able to extend the bracelet if I decide to put this in the shop or to give it as a gift. A lot of the things I'm making right now are for Christmas or for Thanksgiving and birthday gifts. And so I will let you know up on the community boards when I put things up in the shop. All right, so I've got that. I can put the chain to one side. I am going to be using it whenever we do the earrings, so I'm not putting it up, but I am going to do it. Move it to one side. I poured out these little, these are actually the little 3 millimeter jump rings. When I go to put this on, I decided that the 3 millimeter were really too small, and I ended up with a 4 millimeter. It's not much difference, but it was just different enough for the width of the circle on these chains. I'm sorry, on the charms. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this. Now, one of the things that you want to do whenever you're doing something like this is pay attention to the way that your that your chain, I got jump rings on the braid, that your chain lays. I've started off by pinning it so that I can lay out my design. Now remember, I did 6 of these pumpkins. 4 of them I'm going to use on the, I'm trying to decide now, well, do I want to do this or do I want to do that? Part of these I'm going to use on the bracelet. And if you don't want to add any of the pearls to this, look at that. That would be beautiful. But I was looking at it, I thought, I really want something to soften this. And I am going to be using pearls. Now, the other thing I pulled out is my 24 gauge head pins in the gold. And these are freshwater. I believe they call them baby pink, but they are truly a very soft pink, almost a white. And so I put after straightening it out, the 24 gauge, I'm taking my straight nose pliers, and we're going to do a turn down loop. Make sure nothing is over the top of the loop of the pliers when you start, because you don't want anything to hang, and then you just make those teeny tiny little turns till you move that 24 gauge head pin all the way down. Make sure you get at least 2. It's preferable to have 3 turns when you're doing a turn down loop, because usually you do these with very delicate wire, and you do not want this to pull up on you and you lose it, especially when you're putting pearls on something. So again, you see the teeny tiny little twists of the wrist? I'm not doing big ones. I'm only going about a fourth a turn every time until I get it all the way down to the pearl. Let's try. Now, the really nice thing is I got these, I believe I got these from Fire Mountain, and I got a really nice set of these pearls. So you might want to check there if you don't have them in your area. And again, I'm just twisting this down until I touch the pearl and I get the 3 rings on it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these pearls in, and I will finish them up just like that, and then I will come back. And we are back. Now then, I'm taking out my box of jump rings, and I'm going to take out some of I think these are the 4 millimeter. They might be the 5, but I think I started out with the 4. If you'll notice, I still have the 6 pumpkins on, and then the pearls interspersed with the pumpkins. Now, leaving it laid down at first because I do not want to twist this chain. I have opened up my jump ring. You hold it between 2 chain nose pliers and twist one side. Then you're going to put it on your first jump ring. Oop, and I yanked off the pins right away. And then close it up with another twist of the wrist. But you see, I did not get that closed up. All right, let's straighten this back out so that I know that my chain is okay. And let's get this out of the way. It looked good in the picture, but I am not that kind of person. So I'm going to go ahead and move these pumpkins. Now, what I ended up doing for the bracelet is using 4 pumpkins and 5 of the the pearls. That way I had the same thing to use on the earrings. I'm just taking off the needles. I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea, but I'm going to open this jump ring up again because I really did not get the pumpkin on it. I thought I got the pumpkin on it, but I did not. So with a twist of the wrist, and only twist one wrist so you don't strain the metal or stress the metal in that jump ring, we're going to go ahead and put that pumpkin on. Then with my curved nose pliers, I'm catching it. And again, with the twist of the wrist, just one side, I'm closing it up. And there's your first of the pumpkins. Now then, I'm looking at the chain to laying it flat to make sure it's not twisted. The first few of these charm bracelets that I made when I was younger, I was always twisting them, and it didn't look twisted until I went to put it on, and one of them was on one side of the ring, and one of them was on the other side of the ring, and it was not fun. So it's very important that you go ahead and you make sure that you have your chain straight. And the only way I know to do that is to lay it flat and make sure they're all laying flat. Jump ring was open, twist the wrist closed, touch the top. And if you haven't seen my videos before, the reason I touch the top is if it is the least bit open, it will feel rough. If it feels rough, it is not closed. Again, I am counting out 4 of the chains for this particular chain. And then in the 5th one, I am putting an open jump ring. Let's see. I got it right there, and I'm going to put it down, make sure I have it on the bottom of the chain. Now I could have started with the top, but I have to tell you that all of them ended up on the bottom. It's harder to put it on the top and lay across, so I always put it at the bottom of that chain link. And so I've counted again. I've opened my jump ring with a twist of one wrist. I'm putting it in the bracelet itself, putting on my pumpkin, and going to close it right up, just like that. So I should have a pumpkin, a pearl, and a pumpkin. Now, if you use these charms, you don't have to use the colors I've used here. I'm just saving the other colors in there for something different. All right, so open it, hold it between 2 chain nose pliers, twist one wrist. It opens it up. We're going to take a needle. That's what I got on my work table. We're going to count off 4, and in the 5th one, we're going to put on the jump ring. Once I've got it in the bottom of that jump ring, or on the bottom half of that jump ring, of the link, I'm going to put on my pearl, close the jump ring with a twist of the wrist, and you have got it. Now I'm going to complete this all the way down. One thing that I did, and I forgot to tell you, is when I counted out, there you go. When I counted out to start, I went 8 on each side so that I wouldn't have anything on my wrist itself. Now I've gone ahead and taken off what I'm going to use as the extender, and that was 15 links of this chain. I am opening up a jump ring with the twist of the wrist. I'm going to go ahead and put on that jump ring on the end, and it should look just like that. Then I'm going to, now for this one, because of the way the links in the chain fell, I put on a small jump ring, and then I will put on a slightly larger jump ring to put on my lobster claw clasp, because I want my clasp to be able to lay flat on my wrist. And when you are doing anything with chain, your circles from the chain and the circle that you're going to join the lobster claw onto have to be in the same plane. If both have to be vertical to each other. All right, so I've done that. Remember, I put a small jump ring and then a slightly larger one and put on my lobster claw clasp. If when you get to your chain is one is vertical and one is horizontal, you only need to use the one jump ring. All right, now I'm putting a much larger jump ring. This is a 5 instead of the 4, and I'm going to join it to the other end, just like that. And then I am going to add the extender chain to it. Put your extender chain, Kathryn. And then I will close it up with a twist of the wrist. That way I can close it right on the larger jump ring and make it easy to close. Or if whoever buys this or whoever I gift it to, if I don't keep it for myself, they will be able to extend it out with that same beautiful rose gold. Now, isn't that pretty? I just love this. And remember, we have matching earrings coming up. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love that. That is so pretty. Okay. And I have to tell you, I did try it on. It's amazing. It's really lovely. And it is pumpkins, but it is a very classy look of that pumpkin because you've added the pearls and it's not the colors you expect. And it is perfect for the holidays. All right, let's see now. What have I got here? I know what I want to do. Right before we leave this bracelet, I am going to put a charm on the bottom of that extender. Again, I am using one of those freshwater pearls. I am bringing it in a turn down loop all the way down, and then I am going to add it to the very bottom of the extender. That way you have something pretty at the end of your bracelet as opposed to just having a chain dangle in the wind. If you're making this for yourself or you know the length of the person who is going to be wearing it, you don't have to put an extender. But I always love having the extender on it. So just like we've done everything else, we opened it, we put on our charm, and then we're closing it up, making sure that it's really closed. And you have that lovely extender on it. Just like that. I think that is gorgeous. It'd be even more gorgeous if I hadn't put it at the very top of the camera. And you see my little pin right there. It tells me where you need to look. But I have hit the camera, so there you go. All right. And now we're ready to go ahead and do the earrings. And as I set up for the matching earrings, would you please take a moment and like and subscribe to this channel? And if you're enjoying this video, please leave a comment, and sharing this with others would be amazing. Thank you so much. So we're ready to go ahead and do the matching earrings. We will be using the same elements as we used in the bracelet. I will be using 2 of the pumpkins, one pink and one gray, and I will be using 4 of the freshwater pearls. Now I have counted out 7 links in my chain. I'm going to open them up. Well, maybe I'm going to open it up. I really like this chain because you can just open it up, and that makes it lovely. So I have 7. I've opened it up, and I've added on the bottom, the one that I opened. I haven't closed it yet. You'll need 2 sets of 7. Then we're going to have 1 of 5 and 1 of 3. Now the way I'm putting this up is my longest chain will have the pumpkin on it, and then the 2 pearls will go on either side. I've chosen a larger pearl for one side and a smaller pearl for the other. So I'm trying to say this is going to be a 5, a 7, and a 3. So I put the 5 on one side, the 7 in the middle. I'm counting them out to make sure. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I wasn't sure I would 6, 7. I would remember where I was whenever I was doing this. And then 3 on the end. And that'll give it a staggered look. And I am mixing the rose gold and the regular gold, but they look really gorgeous together because we painted and antiqued the pumpkins. And that's what ties it all in together. So I've already got that loop that I opened up on the chain, the link to put this on. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the pumpkin on the 7 link. It doesn't really matter how many links you have as long as it's staggered. You want a staggered look. So the pumpkin goes on the longest of your chain. And then we'll put the next one on the 5. I'm opening it up. And, well, it's already open. I'm making sure the chain is on there because it fell off. And once I get that done, then I'm going to go ahead and put on the larger of the pearls. And the reason I'm putting the larger one on is because it's going to set the closest to the pumpkin, and I want it to be symmetrical that way. Even though we're doing 3 instead of 2, I want the pieces that are closest together to look similar in size. Next, I'm taking the chain that was only 3 links and going ahead and putting on the small pearl. It's not that small, but you can notice it's a difference. And then closing up the link. Just like that. Now, once I have all of those together, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a 6mm jump ring. You could see it before I started talking, and now it's off the picture. And onto the 6mm jump ring that I've opened with the chain nose, just like we did for the bracelet, I'm putting on the 3mm, the 7mm, and the 5mm. So again, that they will be staggered. And then I'm using one of the fish hook wires for the earring wire. Now this one I do not have to turn the earring or use an extra jump ring to make the earring face front. The reason that is because I have the dangles themselves are in the same plane as the ear wire, and therefore the jump ring that I'm using is what brings them to face forward. And there's the second one. Now, aren't those pretty? Don't you think they will look gorgeous with that bracelet? I think this is just a beautiful set. I thought about making a necklace to go with this set, and I thought, no, that would be kind of overpowering. I have a thing about jewelry being overpowering, but this has a beautiful, beautiful, elegant look. It's perfect for the holiday season, whether it is for the November with the pumpkins or because of the colors, it can be for the Advent and Christmas season of December. It is lovely. And again, because of the colors, you could wear this throughout the year, and I just love it. I think it being on that rose gold chain is just stunning. Isn't that pretty? And it looks so pretty on. I always have trouble getting these bracelets, the charm bracelets, to look round whenever you put them on something, but they are really, it's really beautiful. And then these earrings, they match perfectly. What a beautiful set. As I said, most of the things I'm doing in November and December are either gifts or, I have to admit, something I'm keeping myself. So I haven't decided. Isn't that pretty? Oh, it's just so pretty. I haven't decided yet whether or not these are going up in the shop, but I will let you know through the community board if I put them up in my shop. And if you haven't visited our shop, it is circleartdesigns.net, and we would love for you to stop by and see what we have done. My daughter says, you definitely have a style, Mom. And so I guess I do. I definitely have a style. And I guess that's why I tell you all the time, I just love the things that is in my heart to make. And they just make me happy. And I hope they make you happy too. And I'll put pictures up. Thank you so much for joining me today on this beading adventure. I have had a wonderful time designing and making this, and antiquing these just made them perfect. They have such a classic look to them. Well, you have a great weekend and have a marvelous beading adventure of your own. God bless you. God keep you safe. And I will see you next week. Kathryn, CircleArtDesigns.net. God bless y'all.